It was a great time. I mean, the Palace Theater in Cleveland, Ohio, when I was a kid, you could say, I was born in a trunk at the Palace Theater in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, we need a song. I love it. I love verses of songs. They often tell you more about the song than the chorus does. The choruses are sort of generalized, but verses are just wonderful, and you get a backstory. This is a song that I knew as a kid because Louis Prima used to sing it of all people, but I never liked his version, which was, I never understood it. Years later, Peter Allen made a recording of it, and I thought, oh, wow, that's a beautiful song. And I went to get the information about it. Turned out to have been a song written after World War I by a German man. And in German, the song is called Schöner Gigolo, Handsome Gigolo. In English, of course, it's Just a Gigolo. 'Twas in a Paris cafe that first I found him. He was a Frenchman, a hero of the war. The war was over, and here's how peace had crowned him. A few cheap medals to wear, and nothing more. Now every night in that same cafe you'll find him. And as he walks by, the ladies hear him say, if you admire me, please hire me. A Frenchman who knew better days. Just a gigolo, everywhere I go, people see the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, selling each romance. Every night some heart betraying. There will come a day, youth will pass away. What will they say about me? When the end comes, I know they'll say, just a gigolo, as life goes on without me. Gigolo, everywhere I go, people see the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, selling cheap romance. Every night some heart betraying. There will come a day, youth will pass away. What will they say about me? When the end comes, I know they'll say, just a gigolo, as life goes on without me. Story about the method acting and all you need to know. Rita Hayworth was filming Gilda out on the coast. And King Vidor, who was the director, was having a problem with her. He couldn't get her to go into put the blame on Maine number with a lot of stuff, with a lot of sets. So Michael Chekhov, the acting teacher, was on the lot one day, and King Vidor said, "Look, will you take Rita away someplace and talk to her privately? See if you can't get her to put some oomph into that number." So he waited for the break, and he went up to Miss Hayworth, and he said, "Miss Hayworth, could we go somewhere and talk privately?" And she said, "Yes." And off they went, and he said, "Now I have to speak to you very openly. Is that all right?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Miss Hayworth, when you've made love with a man, have you ever at the end taken the rubber off of him? That's how you have to take off those gloves." And Rita did it. And the number was a success. Method acting.
You know, a lot of great things happen. I played a lot of wonderful parts, and that's not enough. You know, it's more fun to talk about the flops. They make better dinner stories, and you just go on. You know, an artist, I read once, is someone who, once one thing is done, starts another thing immediately. And that's what I like to think. You just keep on going. You keep creating, because that's what we do. So as I said, there were wonderful things. I was in a production. I was directed by the great George Abbott himself in a production of Three Men on a Horse, and he said I was as good as Sam Levine had been in the play. I thought, whoa, that's pretty good. But do you remember what Mike Nichols? I think it was Mike Nichols who said to somebody, "You'll never work in the theater again until I need you." Well, the bar office needed me. All of a sudden, Kevin O'Connor, wonderful friend, in one of the parts I was covering, got sick. And I had to go on the second day of previews. I hadn't rehearsed. I had just learned, fortunately, that one part. And I had to go on. And I went on. I'm on Broadway in an Edward Albee play. Can you imagine? And I was good. Maureen Anderman was my girlfriend in that part. I'm not in any books, I'm not in any playbills, but hey, I got on. And it was great, but I did not open in the play because they brought in another actor, who was also someone I knew, who they thought was more suited to the part, but they were going to keep me as the understudy, as I knew. Anyway, so I'm back to Cater Waiter. Here's my favorite Cater Waiter story. When Marilyn Monroe was married to Arthur Miller, she was at a kosher benefit with him in a temple somewhere, and the waiter was serving the soup. And he came along to Miss Monroe, and he leaned over to her, and he said, "Miss Monroe, would you like some matzo ball soup?" And Marilyn Monroe said, "Is there some other part of the matzo we can eat?" Somewhere along in there, my audition song changed. Things were not going so well in the romantic department. So I was, this was a plea for help, actually. Anyone can whistle, that's what they say, easy. Anyone can whistle any old day, easy. It's all so simple. Relax, let go, let fly. Someone tell me why can't I can dance a tango, I can read Greek, easy. I can slay a dragon any old week, easy. What's hard is simple. What's natural comes hard. Maybe you could show me how to let go, lower my guard, learn to be free. Maybe if you whistle for me. Somewhere along in there, I played the lead in 3 movies, 3 independent films, and never saw the dark of the theater. The only reason I mention it is that one of them was a rip-off of Hair. And this is a funny story. We shot it in 2 weeks, around the clock, in Cleveland, Ohio. It was an original script. It was a rip-off of Hair, of course. And it had a big opening in Cleveland, which I didn't go to. I was fortunately working someplace. And I found out later, one day I was at the Bagel on West 4th, and Clarence said, "Hey, I saw you in a film on 42nd Street." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, it's called Ghetto Freaks. Did you make that movie?" Now, the movie had been called The Age of Aquarius when I made it. What happened was they could not get a producer. They couldn't get anybody to release it. And a black film company had bought the film and was inserting black scenes because it was a hippie commune. And there were blacks in the movie. And they were inserting more blacks and maybe making somebody else, a leading part or something. I don't know. But they retitled it Ghetto Freaks. And it played 42nd Street. But that wasn't the end of the history of that film. Those people sold it to the Department of the Army, who turned it into a venereal disease film. Now, I did have a nude love scene in the movie. It was the 60s, and it was a nude love scene. Only no frontal, only buns. And so it was easy to take this material and probably say to the recruits, "This is what you shouldn't do." Because there was this kind of orgy scene around my leading lady. So I was always fearful that at some point somebody on the street was going to say, you got that disease. But it never happened. And that was my career in the film. Here's the story of my last Broadway play. It was called Corpse. And I was the eponymous character. I was the corpse. Now, this happened because I looked a lot like the leading guy, an English actor named Keith Baxter. We looked sort of alike, both dark, same height. And the play's gimmick, which was it's a clever play, it ran in London for quite a while. The gimmick was that he played twin brothers. One a crazy English actor, and the other a very wealthy man who was a businessman. And it happened the night that the king abdicated. And in order for the play to work, there had to be an actor playing the ends of all the scenes so that he could run around, change costumes, and come in the other side. And the audience would be confused because they would just see me go out, not knowing it was me, dressed just like him, and he'd come in the other side. It was great. I was not in the program. Never mentioned. I was there as understudy to Keith Baxter, I think, but they did not say corpse, Paul Vincent. It would have given the gimmick away. Well, one night, at the end of the play, the corpse guy, me, is killed, and I had to lie on the stage with a curtain over me, draped. And can't see my face, of course, so I have to be covered by this thing. And when the curtain came down, the show was over, I had to quickly jump up, and I had a secret exit about this big to get off the stage. It was the only place I could get off the stage. There was only one entrance, left stage. One night we had a new stagehand who locked my exit.
Oh!
I got up, went to open it, couldn't get out. The curtain went up for the curtain calls. I'm standing there, the stage manager did not know I couldn't tell I was still on the stage. I'm standing there looking at the audience. Like a deer caught in headlights, right? And they're looking at me and trying to figure out, who the hell is that? I don't remember him in the play. The cast starts coming out, and they see me, of course, and they take their bows and look at me and walk off stage, and they figure out some kind, because I couldn't get off. There was only the space that they were using to come on and off. So I'm still standing there, the audience looking at me. They come on for their second bow, and darlings, all that they were, they took the bow and they turned up stage next and bowed to me. And I bowed to them, and I got my last curtain call on Broadway. Every job we get as actors is a success. We're all a success. Every job means you're a success. And we all I love the business, and I'd been true to my mistress. I was proud of the work I had done. I had loved it all, the crap, the kudos, the pain, the joy, all part of the story. My voice back, I went up to Goodspeed to do Miss Liberty one summer. And you know, Irving Berlin show is wonderful. It ends with all the company on stage singing, "Give me your tired, your poor." It's just beautiful. Well, Katharine Hepburn was there one afternoon, and she always went to the shows because she lived nearby, Goodspeed. And so we were all told, you want to meet Miss Hepburn, she's coming back at the end of the show. Be in the green room, do not take your costumes off, do not remove your makeup, just be right there immediately. She will come in, she'll sign the guest book, and she will leave. Of course, everybody wanted to meet the great Kate. So we're all waiting. Doors fly open, in she comes, head bobbing, and she says, "You made me cry, I cried." She went to the book, signed the guest register. I'm standing near the door, and she's straight out to go out the door, and she puts her hand on my arm now. Kate's touching me. And I'm like, yes. And she says to me, "Isn't this a nice business?" And she's out the door. Nice business? Are you out of your fucking mind? And then I think, yeah, it is a nice business. It's a great business. It's a great job. You work with wonderful people. You get to know, meet, learn interesting things, talented people, people committed, people passionate about the work, because that's where the joy is, right? December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, without a hurt, the heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow.